with today's presentation. It's an interesting topic. It's a new topic also because we have not been doing any of the patient reported measures so far, and it is only in the 5th edition of NABH where the patient reported measures, both the experience measures and the outcome measures, have been introduced. I hope all of you are aware that in the 5th edition, the NABH has changed the way the measurement of various aspects of quality system was being done earlier. So the number of KPIs, the key performance indicators, have reduced, and also certain new elements have been introduced. And one such element is patient-reported measures. So far, what we were measuring in the hospitals and in the health systems were the provider's perspective. So typically, the one example of provider's perspective is when we say that our CAUTI, the catheter-associated UTI rate, is so much. So this is typically a provider's perspective, and it's an important measure of healthcare-associated infection called CAUTI. Now, in the 5th edition of NABH standards, the new element of patient-reported measures have been introduced. Now, what are these measures and how they work? This is what we are going to see today. A similar presentation on a patient-reported measure we did a couple of weeks back. This was on PROMs, the patient-reported outcome measures. And today we are going to look at patient-reported experience measures. So let us see what it is and how it is different from the usual patient satisfaction that we have been measuring so far in our hospitals. So here is my first slide, which says the medicine treats diseases, but how are people treated? Are we measuring this in our systems, in our hospitals? How are people treated? How they are going through various care processes, how they are going through hospital systems, and whether they feel and what is their experience of having undergone through the care processes in the hospital. So this is something which was typically not being measured. Maybe some of the hospitals who had implemented JCI standards and probably were required to measure it were doing it, but I have not seen this being measured in any of the hospitals so far. So as far as the NABH accreditation system is concerned, this is something which is new. So this is the scheme of presentation. We will talk about what is patient experience, and before that we will talk about what are these patient reported measures. So we'll see a little bit of background as to why these have come about and what is it that they are trying to tell us. What is the difference? What is new in this? So this is what we will see. Then we'll also see the dimensions of patient's experience and how these are measured. And lastly, we will see how the measurements are done. So there is an example that I have kept at the end. So a bit of background first. The primary objective of any health system, including the system that we all work in, is to maximize the health of individuals and populations they serve. So the community orientation of health system is something that is key or that is core to any healthcare establishment. And even in the NABH standards, the first standards of the first chapter, the Access, Assessment and Continuity of Care, the first chapter, AAC, begins with the community orientation of the healthcare services or healthcare system. So the primary objective is that it should maximize the health of individuals and the population. So here there is an element of a community-centric approach. And the systems or the healthcare systems or the hospitals are required to do so in an equitable way and within the budgetary parameters. I think these two things or these three things we understand by and large, and there shouldn't be any confusion about it. Good health can enhance a person's lifetime earnings by up to 25%. So this is a study. I have given a reference here. This is a study by OECD. So this is it's a study that is available, and they have figured out, they computed that the good health itself can enhance a person's lifetime earnings by up to 25%, essentially through the means of savings. A few health systems assess their impacts on health and well-being from the perspective of the people they serve. So this is what the point that I was trying to make in the beginning, that mostly what we measure is from the perspective of the provider or the organizer. So provider means from the perspective of the doctors and the nurses. So we are calculating the infection rates, the turnovers, things like that. From the organizer's perspective, we are looking at the utilization. So when you say your bed occupancy rate is so much, or when your OT utilization is this much, or your ICU bed utilization is this much, that is the organizer's perspective. But from the people perspective, we have not been measuring this so far. So health-related quality of life, these measurements have existed for last 3 decades or over 3 decades. Yet these are not being measured systematically in any health system so far. So at least in India. So this is the reason why the NABH has come up in the 5th edition with this requirement. So the performance metrics in health tend to focus principally on inputs and outputs. So we look at the resource consumption, that is the inputs. So we look at the number of doctors, the number of nurses, the number of hospitals, the hospital beds, the technologies available, diagnostics available, all these inputs that we look at. And then we also measure the outcomes. So we measure the life expectancy, we measure the cure rates or the infection rates. So these are the outcomes that we typically measure. So outcomes, these are important, but they are silent on the range of other things which are valued by the patients, including pain, including functional restoration, and the quality of life, as well as the experience of care itself. So this is something which has been brought to our notice in the recent past. Picture of healthcare and health systems performance is missing in this. So we are not looking at the health system's performance from the perspective of the recipient of the care, that is the patient himself. The outputs provide only a partial picture of the health system performance. The range of interrelated health domains, including pain, mobility, fatigue, anxiety, symptoms of depression, all contribute to person's health related quality of life, but these are typically not measured. Patients also value their care experiences. So was my autonomy respected? When we look at the domains of patient experience, we will explore this aspect little more, and here it is also linked to how the consent processes work and what was the manner in which the patient was treated in the hospital. Was I able to participate in the decisions about my care? Did the care pathway, its organizational aspects, place an undue cost or burden on me? So these are the factors which have been found out, or which have been discerned using the systems research, and these are the aspects that people value, apart from recovering from the disease that they may be having. So medicine treats diseases, but how are people treated? And this is the question that we don't address, or we don't measure that yet. The traditional outcome measures like the survival or mortality will remain useful because they do tell us a part of care, but cannot capture more subtle yet important effects. And these are, for example, patients diagnosed with cancer value their survival highly. Survival and mortality, however, say very little about the nausea, pain, sleep quality, body image, sexual function, independence, and time spent with loved ones. So these are the factors which are not in focus. So patient reported measures are also an end in itself, and we will see why. A good care experience contributes to better clinical outcomes, and it is also an end by itself. How people are treated also matters. So being treated with respect, compassion, and being supported, listened to, and involved in the decision making, This also means that the care is better integrated across teams who communicate well with each other and with the patients. So we have now come to address these questions, these patient's perspective of the care that he has received. So these patient-reported measures collect information about the experience of health services and the outcomes of health services as described by the patients. So here we are looking at patient-reported experience and patient-reported outcomes. They differ from many other measures of health service delivery, which are based on information that providers of health services value. So the providers of the health services, we are interested in our recovery rates, we are interested in infection rates, we are interested in the utilization of the services that are being provided. We are also interested as an organizer, we are also interested in the cost effectiveness. So utilization rates become important. When we measure the mortality rates or the 5-year survival rate in case of many diseases, we are essentially looking at the outcomes from a provider's point of view. The patient-reported measures can be used to measure health performance, and this is essentially the use of patient-reported measures. So we will cover a little later, but let me just briefly mention that the patient-reported measures typically use a validated tool. So you can't just create a questionnaire by yourself and start using it, because unless the questionnaire is validated and it is standardized and used across hospitals, it will not be possible to compare performance. And therefore, the patient-reported measures, which are validated tools and questionnaires, are used for they can be used for a given geographic area. They can be used for a given jurisdiction or a country. So for the purpose of comparison and to inform ongoing improvements in the quality of health services. So when we measure a patient-reported experience or a patient-reported outcome, and we do it serially over a period of time, so we also know whether across the timeline, whether there is an improvement or not. So patient-reported experience measures are used to obtain patients' views and observations on aspects of healthcare services that they have received. This includes their views on the accessibility and physical environment of services. For example, waiting times and the cleanliness of consultation rooms and waiting spaces. The aspects of patient-clinician interaction as to whether the clinician, the doctor or the nurse explained the procedures clearly or responded to questions in a way that they could understand. So here are the domains of patients' experience. And the first domain is the interpersonal interactions. And these are the questions that are addressed when we look at this domain. So I am heard. So whatever is the patient's way of expression or whatever questions that he may have about the care and about the disease process, whether these are being heard. I am being cared about. This essentially covers how a person is being treated. I am informed, and we have on several occasions we have known enough about the informed consent and similar processes. I am known. So how we address a patient? Do we address him by name, or we call cases, or we call him a case, or we call him a bed number, or we call him what? So this is an aspect of interpersonal interactions. Am I treated as a human being, and I understand what the professionals say? So whether there was an effort on part of the providers to explain it in the language or in the manner that the patient can understand. So these are the interpersonal interactions. The next are the clinical quality interactions, and these questions essentially deal with, they essentially go like this. I can get the right care at the right time, and I experience high quality and safe clinical care. Next comes about the care delivery interactions. So the interactions have a way to inspire the confidence or to reduce the confidence of the patients in the providers. So the aspects that are addressed are: I have confidence in the professionals treating me. I am discharged at the right time with the right plan. My care needs are attended to. Now this can be as simple as providing a urine bottle or help when the patient needs it. My care is tailored to my needs. So how much customization are we able to provide? Can I request the microphones to be muted because it is creating interference, and I am going to do this centrally from here. So my personal care needs are attended to. My care is tailored to my needs. The hospital is clean and welcoming. Different parts of my care are coordinated. Now, this is something that the patients are conscious about, and they are also observing this. So whether the coordination is happening, and I'm treated equally no matter who I am. So these are the care delivery interactions. The next set is the administrative interactions, and where these will be whether the hospital puts the needs of the patients first, whether the hospital is managed well overall, whether the appointments and wait times are well managed, and whether the feedback is welcomed and acted upon, and whether the health records are well managed. Now, if we look at these four domains, we would have realized that many of these domains are covered in various objective elements and various standards of NABH accreditation system. These are also covered in the JCI accreditation system and also in the NQAS. So these form the universal theme across the quality systems and various set of standards. So patient-reported experience measures is a consistent approach to administering the patient experience surveys, and that allows the results to be compared across institutions and across timelines. A validated tool increases the patient's response rates and minimizes proxy and response bias. So typically, when we do validation of the questionnaires, we measure a score called Cronbach's alpha, and this is a statistical measure which is used for validation purposes. It is important to administer tool in its entirety and in adherence with the method prescribed. So if you search the Google, if you search internet, you will find that there are large number of patient reported experience measures available. Some of them are available in public domain, the others are not. And sometimes we get tempted to pick up one and possibly make it simple for our use and then start implementing it. Now this is something which should never be done, because a tool, when it is made for a purpose of patient reported measurements or for patient reported measures, it is validated, and therefore it has to be used in its entirety. We can't eliminate a part of it. It loses the significance, it loses the objectivity, or the measurements may not be valid. So therefore tweaking is not to be done, and if required, we could develop our own tool using the same methods which have been used for developing other tools. The patient-reported experience measures are useful to obtain a picture of how patients view their experience in accessing key healthcare services and their satisfaction with aspects of clinical interaction in general. Now, how is this different from patient satisfaction measurements that we have been doing for all these years? So patient satisfaction measurements tools are typically not validated. So if you validate a tool and include these aspects or these domains that we just discussed, then this becomes a patient reported experience measurement tool. The data it provides are used in health performance assessments. And in India, the NABH 5th edition has added this requirement, and this is there at PRE 7B. So those who are familiar with these standards can have a look at it there. A number of approaches and surveys have been developed. So this could be the patient-reported experience can be measured for a particular care setting. So we have one measurement for primary care setting, another measurements for hospital-based or for long-term care centers. Similarly, we can address a specific aspect of care. So when we design a questionnaire to address continuity or autonomy or information provision, then it's a very focused, it's a very, very specific tool that addresses only that aspect of care. The patient-reported experience measures elicit select scaled data across a range of dimensions, including accessibility, communication, continuity, and confidence. So these are the groupings. When we design questionnaires, the groupings are, it's an example of how the questions can be grouped. So these are the performance measurement parameters. And I have listed 9 here. You could have more or you could have less, depending on which tool you are using, or depending on whether you are developing your own tool. It may have a different set of questions and different number of questions. So the first one is whether the professionals showed respect, the professionals spent enough time, professionals listened carefully and answered questions. And these are typically applicable to all the care providers. So we are looking at the doctors, nurses, and the ward staff showing respect, spending enough time, listening carefully, and answering questions. The environment, of course, needs to be clean and quiet. So this aspect is there. Pain management, staff responsiveness are also covered. So these first 6 parameters that are listed on the screen, they are measured on a 5-point Likert scale. So here it is always, often, sometimes, occasionally, and never. So these are the 5-point Likert scale, which is used for measurement. Then question number 1, 2, 3, and 6 are applicable, as I've already said, to the doctors, nurses, and the ward staff. The discharge information and the medication information is measured on a 3-point Likert scale. So we have only 3 options: provided, not provided, or don't know. And sorry, it's not a Likert scale. It's only 3 options are there in serial 7 and 8. Then serial 9 is on a Likert scale of 1 to 5, where 1 being very poor and 5 being excellent. So that gives the overall rating. So this is one example of parameters which can be used for making a scale. Now, when we are trying to use a patient-reported experience measures or patient-reported outcome measures, we could possibly use a tool which is developed by others, but most of these tools are proprietary tools. They cannot be just lifted and used. So you may need to take licenses, and some of them are paid. The other option is to develop your own tool, and this is not very difficult. However, it requires applying a research methodology, statistical methods, and then making a tool that can be useful for us. So at RAFA, we are now attempting to create a tool both for patient-reported experience measurements and for patient-reported outcome measurements. And we will, in future, will also provide a mechanism through which the measurements can be recorded, and then the comparison is possible. So I have finished. If there are questions, I'll be happy to take them. Any questions? Let me close this presentation so that the screen is freed, and then I'm able to see the chat box. Okay. So are there any questions? So while we are at it, yes, please.
Yeah, like we have this audit cycle. Does PREM require a cycle? Does it require a cycle that suppose the hospital does a PREM and gets a set of answers maybe in a particular month? Is it required to correct the deficiencies in the next PRM and see whether is there a cycle required or a continual action is required in this?
It is, see, like, okay, so we can draw a parallel with the patient satisfaction surveys that we do. So typically patient satisfaction survey we do using a unvalidated tool, something that we have created by ourselves, and we keep measuring it every month. Similarly, if we want a comparison over time, how did we do in the month of January and how are we doing now in the month of December or June? This is possible only when we repeat the measurements. And because the questionnaire is validated, because the tool is validated, so it allows a very easy comparison across timelines. And once if the hospitals use a similar tool or the same tool, then the comparison is also possible across the hospitals. So this has to be repeated. I mean, it doesn't make sense that you measure it just once and then forget about it, because eventually the purpose of every measurement is to make the improvement and also to demonstrate the improvement. This will be possible only when we repeat the measurement. So this is I hope this answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There are more questions, so let me look at the chat box and look at the questions. Many of you have asked for the presentation. Yes, it will be sent. Okay, so Dr. Subramanian, your question is answered. The next one is, yes, Dr. Rupashri has asked, along with patients, can we also take attenders and family members' inputs and suggestions too? Well, ma'am, you could take, but then if we were to do that, then there will be no end to the number of people whom you can include in your surveys. Typically, we look at only the stakeholders, and typically we look at only the direct stakeholders. Well, yes, there is no embargo. You could take the family also in consideration, and also take their views or their inputs using the questionnaire. Okay, Revati Mani ma'am has asked for the presentation. Yes, ma'am, it will be given to you. Okay, Dr. Rupashri again, measuring on other parameters other than time, is it possible? So what parameters you use is open to you. If you use someone else's survey tool, then of course there is no option but to use it in entirety. But if you develop your own tool, yes, you could include n number of parameters based on those domains that we discussed. And this has to be measured. Measurement has to be repeated for it to be useful. Naveen Kumar has asked, how do we involve clinicians? Do they want this in India? Well, I think there are a lot of such activities where sometimes we find that physicians or the clinicians' engagement is wanting, and a lot of times you may not get the kind of support that you need to do these measurements. This is something that I could possibly address in a separate presentation or separate subject called clinicians engagement. Let me just state this much. For the moment, the NABH standards wants this to be measured. So I guess if a hospital is going for NABH accreditation, then this option is not available to them. And if you are already accredited, then you will, and if you are going to continue with accreditation by the NABH, then you will need to measure, because this is one of the standard that the NABH has given, PRE 7B, and there is no option. So we will have to measure it. We will need to involve clinicians, because eventually the measurements do reflect on how the patient how was the patient's interaction with the clinicians, as with any other category of hospital staff. So it is not specially or specifically focused on clinicians. And I think this argument can be used to possibly get the engagement and support. Okay, so Dr. Rupashri, you're saying satisfaction aspects. Well, ma'am, in the patient's experience, we are looking at those domains, and these have to be measured serially over a period of time. So you do one measurement and repeat that measurement, or maybe you keep doing that measurement on a continuous basis and compare the data on different timelines. So you could have the data for January being compared with the data for June, or maybe data for October, so that you know whether there is an improvement or there is a scope to do improvement. Okay. Naveen Kumarji again, clinicians are not involved, patients don't answer the questionnaire. I will. What I will say is that if you allow the patients to get involved in the care processes, I agree that not all patients will answer questions. Yes, not all patients, and it cannot be 100% patients being surveyed. You could take a sample size using the statistical sample size, the table that is given in the NIMH book as well. So you could use that and use the sample size to do these measurements. It is possible. Navinji, I hope your concerns are addressed. PPT has been asked. Okay, Revati ma'am has asked for doing patient-reported experience measurements and only the PROM sample to be addressed, or it could be some other like getting feedback on infection rates, waiting times. Ma'am, the PROM is different and the PREM is different. We are looking at different aspects from the patient's perspective. So when we are looking at outcomes, we are looking at different things, and I don't want to get into those domains today. We have already covered it in another presentation. In experience measurements, we are only focusing on the patient's experience. So they are looking at two different things, not the same thing. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Suman. Nice hearing this. Dr. Rupashri, now it is pay for performance era. So are these tools useful for continuous improvement? Dr. Rupashri, you asked a very pertinent question. I consciously did not touch the term called value-based healthcare. But if you search the literature and if you search the current reimbursement trends, we are now going towards the value-based healthcare, where the value as ascertained by the patient is the measurement based on which the reimbursements or the payments are expected to be done. Now, this is still a very early stage for value-based healthcare systems to get implemented. However, the patient-reported measures are basically an attempt to go in that direction. I hope I have answered your question. Navinji, yes. Can I project the analysis on hospital website? Are there any hospitals in India doing this analysis for marketing? Navinji, yes, you could do that, especially if you have done measurement, let's say at one point in time, for example, in January, and now you have done a measurement again in the month of March or maybe in the month of June, and you have seen significant improvement in the same measurement or in the using the same questionnaire. Yes, you could display it on your website, and you could use this as a positive aspect of the care that is being provided in the hospital. Dr. Ashok, your question is patient-reported experience measurement is supplementary to, just rolled up, is supplementary to satisfaction or grievance measurement? Dr. Ashok, the grievance is a different thing altogether. We are only, and of course, it can be a result of the patient's experience, yes. But when you are addressing grievance, you are essentially trying to correct something that has been pointed out. The experience is something where the patient has not formally taken it as a wrong done to him, yet he has had an experience with which he may not be happy, but he has chosen not to report it. So there is a thin line that divides the two. Once you move towards the experience measurements, then in my opinion, the satisfaction measurement becomes redundant. The grievance mechanism will still be required. I hope that addresses your question. Dr. Ashok. Revati ma'am, she has asked, can you give example of clinical care pathway? Well, ma'am, I will not give it today because we will deviate from our topic, but we could take up clinical care pathway or developing care pathways or using care pathways in our hospitals on occasion. And yes, it gives me an idea. I'll use this suggestion and use this topic on some other occasion. But yes, I will. Okay, Dr. Subramaniam again. How to ensure that patient bias is removed? Like a bad outcome, patients may have unsatisfactory PREM. So any linkage to PROM. Well, it may be linked to PROM, but please remember that the experience measurement is different from outcome measurement. And since these are validated questionnaire, the validation essentially aims to remove the bias. So that's my view on what you have asked. So how to ensure that bias is removed? If the questionnaire is validated, that is taken care of. And of course, if there is a bad outcome, once we know that there is a bad outcome, we also know that our PREM measurements and our outcome measurements will be different, and they may not be very happy really. Tejaswini Sri Khande, she has asked, can social media reviews be considered? Madam, if you are administering your validated tool through a social media, using social media only as a platform, yes, it can be considered. But if you are using social media captures without validation, then no. Google reviews, no ma'am, unless they are standardized or validated. This cannot be used. So Dr. Ashok has said thanks. You're welcome. Sir, PPT has been asked. Yes, it will be given. Biman Hazarika, your question is, you spoke something about Cronbach alpha, could not follow. What is the purpose of it? So, Hazarika ji, the Cronbach alpha is a measure, is a statistical measure for validating a tool. So there is a methodology for it. I have not covered it because it is outside the scope of today's presentation or today's topic. But please search Cronbach alpha. You will find there is a huge quantum of material available on the Google. You could get that. If there are specific questions, I think I'll be happy if the emails are given, because this is really out of the scope of today's presentation. So if you could send me an email, yes, we'll try to address that. Do I require ethics committee approval for implementation of this questionnaire? Dr. Naveen, no. There is no need for ethics committee approval in this. You're not doing any research in that sense. Okay. Okay, I think I have answered your question. Dr. Shama Mishra, can I request? Yes, the PPT will be given. So the questions are over. If there are more questions, you could email me, or you could, I'll just type the email in the chat box. So you can send it on that email. It's the same email from which you received the live session information, the masterclass at rafa.org. That is the email. So please ask questions there. We will definitely answer, and we'll answer promptly. So that's the today's topic. And thank you very much. It was a lively session. We had a lot of questions, and it's a new subject for many of us. So questions are natural. Once again, I would say that at the Research Foundation, we are developing two tools, the PROM and the PREM tool. And our attempt or our endeavor is to offer these tools to the hospitals across India, so that we use a validated, standardized tool. And once we use that tool, then the region-wise, hospital-wise, institutional-wise, and various other filtered comparisons can be done. So this is our endeavor. Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us.